Hello everybody, this is Pranay. Today again we are going to talk about most important topic, which is NRI quota, and we have been doing videos around this all the time. This video in particular is basically a compilation of the most common questions to the most complicated ones. We tried to make a series of 3 videos, part A, part B and part C. This one particularly is part A, which is the basic one. What we are trying to do here is we are trying to take up the simple questions altogether, 25 in numbers, and I will try to answer them one by one so that you have your basics clear. After that, you can go to the part B and then you can go to the part C. So let's start the video to have the utmost clarity on this subject. So NRI quota, when we are talking of NRI quota, and particularly we name it as DASA and CIWG, which is the technical name for this particular question. DASA and CIWG basically means that you have a reservation, you have a NRI quota in engineering colleges in India. Okay, we will talk about this in the later questions in detail. This is what the NRI quota is all about. So basically DASA and CIWG is nothing but an official name given for NRI quota. DASA simply means direct admission student abroad, whereas CIWG means children of Indian workers in Gulf. If I have to explain this to you in one word, this means all the NRI students who are settled abroad, who wish to come to India for engineering preparation, they are eligible for the DASA quota. Whereas CIWG, this is only applicable for the NRI students who are situated out of the Middle East. So you cannot swap. Who all are applicable for writing the DASA scheme? As long as you are eligible under the DASA and CIWG eligibility criteria, and as long as you meet the requirement of being a NRI, OCI or PIO, you are eligible for the DASA quota. Now this one is tricky. You are wondering who is eligible for CIWG then. So basically, to understand CIWG better, you have to understand DASA also. Now I'm giving you an elaborative answer here. Let's take an example of, first of all, you being from Middle East. When you are from Middle East, you have a special subsection in DASA which is called CIWG. I explained to you earlier, Children of Indian Workers in Gulf. Only NRI students from Middle East can claim the CIWG quota. Now, under the CIWG quota, you have to be eligible as per the DASA and CIWG eligibility criteria. As long as you are eligible, you are good to go to take the CIWG quota. Now, to understand the difference between CIWG and DASA, I'll give you an example. For example, if there is a student based out of Singapore, he can only claim the DASA quota. Whereas you being from the Middle East, you can take the CIWG quota, and along with that, you are also eligible to take the DASA quota. So, students who are from Middle East under the CIWG category, they have a dual advantage of opting in for both the quota. Whereas if you are from any other part of the world except Middle East, then you can only claim for the DASA quota. In my opinion, more relevant obviously is CIWG for you, because you have a number of seats reserved for you under the DASA and CIWG quota. And if you could not make in DASA in the CIWG quota, you always have this option of going for the DASA seats. So this is more relevant for you. So this question is one of the most confusing question we normally come across, and we get too many queries around this question. Eligibility criteria, if I have to tell you in a nutshell, because most of the eligibility criteria, in my opinion, I think you would be able to make. The problem will always lies in one criteria, which is the educational requirement. The education requirement is basically to be eligible for DASA and CIWG, your ward should have done his or her grade 11th and 12th from Middle East. This is the primary requirement. All other requirement you might be able to do it. I will leave the link in the description for the detailed eligibility criteria, but this is the thing that you need to know at this point in time. If your child has done their schooling till grade 11th and now in grade 12 they are finally shifted in India, you are not eligible for either DASA or for CIWG. So either ways, okay. Essential requirement is 11th and 12th from Middle East or from abroad is required to be eligible for DASA or CIWG. Now we all must be wondering that okay, we have the NRI quota, we can take admission in the engineering colleges in India, but the real question lies that okay, under this NRI quota, how many seats actually do you have, and out of these seats, how many are reserved for your particular specialization? I'm pretty much sure that you would not be interested in going for a textile engineering or any other, let's say civil engineering for that matter. Because the students who are there, they are thriving to go for the important specialization like computer science, so far and so forth. So for these important specialization, the total number of seats which are reserved under your NRI quota are basically 3,211 seats altogether in all the colleges who are accepting these NRI quota. So we will give the answer on the colleges in the next question. Now I've already told you the number of seats that you have in the NRI quota, but now as we know that you have a DASA thing and you have a CIWG thing. So this means that there are specific seats that are allocated to DASA and allocated to CIWG. Now you need to understand, out of these 3,211 seats, 1/3 seats are only specifically reserved for the CIWG candidate, which means approximately 2,100 seats are available under DASA scheme. And if anybody is applying for the DASA scheme, let's say that Singapore guy, if that student is applying for the DASA scheme, he is not having access to these 1,000 seats which are reserved under the CIWG category. So in spite of the fact that you have 3,211 seats in DASA and CIWG, for a DASA candidate, they have only access of 2,100 seats. Whereas you being a CIWG student, you have 1/3 seat reserved already, which is approximately 1,011 seats. In addition to CIWG seats, which is 1,011, you have an access to these 2,100 seats which are reserved for DASA also. So here you have an advantage, as I've explained you earlier. So this is basically the rough estimate. I'll try to give the link in the description where you can check the details also. So I've already answered you about the seats. Now one of the most important question which is most searched for, which is the seat, and this might also influence your decision of selecting the quota. Selecting the right quota, either DASA or CIWG, is very important, and one of the guiding factor is the fee part. How much do you have to shell out when you are applying for DASA or maybe for CIWG? So we need to understand here, when you opt for a DASA quota for a 4-year program of BTech here in India, in many of the institutions, it would roughly cost you around $4,000 per semester, which means for a complete 4-year degree, you will ultimately end up paying approximately 24,60,000 rupees, approximately 25 lakh rupees for a complete 4-year degree. This is what a CIWG quota candidate will have to shell out for a 4-year degree. Compared to a CIWG candidate, if you are a CIWG candidate from Middle East, you are at a much more better position, because the fee which you will be end up paying for this 4-year degree for BTech in India is approximately 5 to 6 lakh rupees, which is even lesser than what an Indian student would be paying in the NITs or triple ITs or the CFTIs in which they will be taking admission. So you are paying actually much lower compared even to them. So this is basically the fees. So DASA and CIWG, or the NRI Quota, this was basically initiated by MHRD, Ministry of Human Resources and Development, and every year it's been assigned to each NITs. They take the responsibility of getting this conducted. For example, for this year, it is IITJEE who is conducting the DASA and CIWG. It is initiated by MHRD. When we are talking about this NRI quota, many of us also feel that is it applicable for medical, is it applicable for management, or for any other stream? When we are talking specifically for DASA and CIWG quota, this is only applicable for the engineering student who are aspiring to get into engineering stream in these CFTIs. And DASA and CIWG is only applicable for engineering. Now we know the eligibility, now we know the fees, now we know the seats. The important question that you need to know, the number of colleges that are accepting the DASA and CIWG. So in totality, you have 62 premium engineering colleges in India which are ranking very good, in which you have the access of NRI quota. Through this DASA and CIWG, you can only get access to these 62 centrally funded institutions in India, often known as CFTIs. Okay, so these are the colleges in which you can take admission. So to get access to those 62 CFTI, centrally funded institutions, you have to write one examination which is called JEE Main. Your JEE Main score will be applicable. Of course, your cutoff for DASA and CIWG will be different from the Indian students, and that will be taken into consideration. Your counseling for these 62 CFTIs under the DASA and CIWG is going to be different, and for Indian students it's going to be altogether different. In many cases, we also get a query from parents and students that can they simply write the state engineering entrance examination and can get into DASA and CIWG? The answer is no. You cannot write any other entrance examination but just JEE Main. JEE Main is the only examination that can get you into DASA and CIWG category. For DASA and CIWG, you don't also have to write JEE Advanced. That is only for IITs. So if you are targeting for CFTIs, for DASA and CIWG, one-stop examination is JEE Main. So there is no way you can get into IITs by simply writing JEE Main or through the NRI quota, DASA or CIWG. When you are targeting IITs, you are basically at the same level where the Indian student is, and you will be getting admission in the IITs on the merit basis only. Over here there is no such quota. Of course, there are reservations for SC, ST, OBC, PWD and general PWD, etc. But as long as quota is concerned for NRIs, there is no such quota available in the IITs. You have to clear JEE Main. After clearing JEE Main, you have to clear JEE Advanced. Based on your JEE Advanced ranking, you will be called for counseling, and then you will be provided admission in IITs. So all the NRI students who are planning to write the JEE main, they have this good news that now they have the JEE entrance center abroad also. There are approximately 6 to 7 JEE centers, exam centers available just in the Middle East itself. So now you don't have to bother and come all the way back to India just for writing JEE main. And they have a couple of examination centers. Let's say they have one in Singapore and few others. I have given the link in the description for the detailed report on this. You can browse through it. So this NRI quota, this DASA and CIWG, this by now you must be knowing that this is not an exam, this is just a scheme, and to avail this scheme you have to be applying for the application form. Application form generally comes out after the JEE advanced get over. Considering this year, I think by the end of June we should be having the DASA and CIWG application form released, and those who are planning to get into this, they can try filling it out. So DASA and CIWG, they also release their comprehensive brochure year by year. For the last year, for this 2021, we have the brochure available with us, and I've also already given the link in the description so that you can just download it once. Obviously, information is going to be not accurate because it's for the previous year, but that will give you a sufficient idea what you all have to go through, and this will give you immense information. Please download it from the link in the description. So this is one of one of the most important question and descriptive one to answer. Whenever you are writing a JEE main examination, unlike all others, you also tend to get the same thing. At the end of the examination, you get your JEE ranking and your score in percentile. For the last year, it was around 98.5 percentile. What you can also do is, because when you are trying to get admission in any of these colleges, you have to see the opening and the closing rank of these colleges, specifically stream wise. So getting to know about the cutoff directly will not serve the purpose, because until unless you are specific that which specialization you would like to go for and what is the cutoff of that specialization, if you do not know that, it doesn't make sense to you. So what we have done is, in the link in the description, we have left a link where you can download these 3 files, which is of counseling round 1, round 2 and round 3. In these files you will be able to see what all colleges were there, what specialization were there, and at what rank they allowed the student to get in, and what was the closing rank. So you'll be able to make a good sense of it. So your school marks were previously taken into consideration for the DASA and CIWG eligibility, but since 2021, after this pandemic and all, the recent notification came in where your school marks are now not taken into consideration. You just have to clear your 11th and 12th with physics, chemistry and mathematics as the core subjects, and if you have that, you are eligible for writing JEE main, and for the DASA and CIWG quota you will be considered. So most of the important specialization, most of the trending specialization are already covered by most of these CFTIs, be it your computer science, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, chemical engineering, civil engineering, marine engineering, aeronautical engineering, so artificial intelligence, metallurgical engineering. These are already covered in these CFTIs. If you are looking for any specific specialization, please do comment below. We'll be happy to answer you. And to get the list of the specializations that are being offered in these colleges, I have also given the link in the description again. Please do check out. You need to have a few documents with you in order to prove your eligibility as an NRI candidate. The list of documents that you need might be a little a bigger one. For that, again, there's a link in the description. Follow that. But essential documents which are primarily needed are applicant's ID proof. Passport is the one that you can have. The candidate's proof of date of birth. You can use any of those documents. Again, passport can be used for the same thing. Then your academic mark sheets for 10th, 11th and 12th. Then a proof of 2 years of education in a foreign country. This you can get it from your school. And for the parents, they need their employment or the employment visa or the business visa details and the employment and the employer's detail. These will be required on their specific letterhead. So now when you have already given your JEE main examination, your admission procedure will be taken care by the JASA, which is Joint Allocation Seat Authority, which conduct these counseling sessions. And during the round of counseling, based on your DASA and CIWG rank, you will be given admission to these colleges, where if you have a higher rank, your preference would be given and you will be called in the round 1. If your rank is lower, or let's say if you are the last one, then probably you will be called in the counseling round 3, and then you will be made to choose the seats which are now left out. So if you are planning to get the top specializations, you have to work hard and you have to come in the first top 500-600 ranks. The moment you are there, then you are in a position to choose. So almost all the colleges are considered as CFTIs, and CFTIs itself means centrally funded institutions in India. When they are centrally funded, it itself means that these institutions are the premium ones. It might be your personal preference that I would like to go for this institution or that institution. The group of institutions which are coming in CFTIs are, let's say, all the NITs are CFTIs, IIITs are CFTIs, SPAs, which is School of Planning and Architecture, they come in CFTIs, Delhi Technological University, then NSIT or NSUT, we call it these days. These are all CFTIs. When the question comes around which is the best one amongst these premium engineering colleges, our personal preference would always be NIT Trichy, then NIT Surathkal, and the third one is the NIT Rourkela. Because when you try to get admission, for example, let's say computer science, only the top rankers, or I would say the top 50 or top 100 rankers who will score their rank in DASA and in CIWG separately, they will be taking admission in these colleges, Trichy, Surathkal and Rourkela, because the cutoff even for DASA and CIWG student is a little higher. So you have to study a little hard on that part. So if you are from Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat or West Bengal or any other region of India, you cannot get admission in the state-driven engineering colleges in India under the DASA and CIWG quota, okay? Because for DASA and CIWG, as I've already explained you earlier, we have a list of 62 centrally funded institutions in India which are very, very good. You can take admission under those colleges, but to get admission into these colleges, we have a different criteria about I will talk soon. So you being an NRI student now wondering that are these 62 CFTIs are the only option you have? So the answer is no. This is just an option for you and an advantage for you, wherein you can take advantage of getting admission in these CFTIs under DASA and CIWG, but in no way you are restricted from writing the other engineering entrance examination in India. You can of course write state engineering entrance examination, private engineering entrance examination, and you can also opt for specific examination, for example BITSAT and other like JEE Main and JEE Advanced if you plan to go for IITs. The only restriction is that you might not end up getting the DASA and CIWG quota, but you are always eligible to write these entrance examination, get your score and compete with the Indian student and get admission over there. But only thing that might affect you is the fee part. So these are the basic questions that we have compiled in order to create your basics. Now you know a little bit about the DASA and CIWG and the NRI quota. So this is part 1 where we tried covering the basic topics. Now toward the end of this video you'll be able to get a card. You can click on it and go to the part B, which is a comprehensive one, and we have a detailed FAQs are getting discussed over there from the parents that we have received. We have tried to give an answer for all those questions. This is one thing. Other part is that during these 25 questions through which I have browsed down, what you can do is if you have any particular query, you can always give that question. Just leave your question in the link in the comment section below, and we will try to address each of those questions. And if the question is important enough to be shared, we'll also try to include that question in our part C, which is going to be a comprehensive version.